Hi, everybody. You're now experiencing the Gretna Bill Show.
Beautiful morning, John. It's so good to see you. The car up here bright and early. You've been doing your homework. It's Tour de France.
Tour de France.
Tour de France. 1 week away. I'm so excited.
Less than a week, man. Saturday starts in Brittany, northern France on the coast. Super hard. Going to be awesome this year. I expect it to be. We say this every year, but it's going to be a really good race this year. Really good race.
I think this year more than ever. Now, I gotta ask you, when we looked at the first Grand Tour of the year, the Giro d'Italia, we saw a lot of breakaways, and a lot of the breakaways stuck and made it. And
won't happen in France.
So you're saying that's not going to happen?
No.
And I say maybe this is the year where we've got enough good riders that we still see that type of breakaway action.
First week has 3 sprint days. So obviously the Koenig Quick Steps and the Lotto and the teams that need the teams that want that sprint stage when they're bringing the heavy hitter sprinters, they're going to want to keep it together. They're also calling for crappy weather next week, the first week in France on the coast, windy, wet, shitty, cold. That's going to make a huge difference too.
So these first 2 stages are really tough, and they're rolling stages. So, and they're going to have some wind, some open areas up there in Brittany. It's close to Belgium. So you and I are both expecting Mathieu van der Poel or Peter Sagan.
Yeah, or Wout van Aert.
Or Van Aert.
Yep.
Now, for 2 different reasons. I mean, when you're looking at MVP, he wants the yellow for his grandpappy Polidor. Is that right?
Yep. He wants to win a yellow for his grandfather, Raymond Poulidor, the eternal second, who finished second in the Tour a bunch of times, but never actually wore the yellow jersey. Passed away, I believe, last spring. And, Matthew's made it no secret that that's a whole game plan.
Well, you were watching the, Belgian Championship?
Watching Belgian Championship yesterday because I don't have a life. I was talking to my buddy Featherman. He's out in San Diego screwing around, and we were chatting back and forth, and he watched like the last 20K, and I said, well, I watched like the last 100K, and he was making fun of me. But that said, late in the race, MVP goes off with Edward Toons and Remco Evenepoel, and they stayed away. They at the end only had like 15 seconds, but that's all they needed. Matthew, we'll get to him in a second. Wout won his first Belgian Road Pro title yesterday, which was really super cool coming off of the appendix.
So what happened to MVP? Matthew.
Group went away at the Dutch Championship yesterday, and he pulled the plug and he had DNF.
Getting ready for the Tour.
I guess. Really, I mean, so one of his teammates got second or third, and there's been some chatter from across over there that he needs to help his team and he needs to be more of a team player and stuff. I get both sides of it.
I think the other person to watch is Sagan in those first 2 stages.
He's out of contract. He needs to show himself. He's gonna
he's been racing good. You have watched him all season.
Oh no, he's been having a great year. GVA's another one possibly. Van Avermaet.
No, GVA, another good
one. The
acronym.
short, punchy stuff, and then Alaphilippe. I mean, Julian is going to be bang on for next Saturday and Sunday to get that yellow jersey. Makes that whole season, even though he's in a rainbow jersey. He had a good French title championship race yesterday. I think Remy Cavagna won that jersey for the French, so DeConinck gets that jersey.
And how about the U.S. National Championship?
U.S. National Championship yesterday was good. It was the longest race in recorded history. It seemed like. I think it was on for 8.5 hours. It seemed like it anyways. Group got away at the end like they always do. Not really at the end, but Joey Rosskopf was in there. There was 2 or 3 Raleigh guys in there, which is kind of the only
stage winner from the Giro, right?
Rosskopf, I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, he did.
But Joey's a good, really solid racer. Did some Pro Tour time over in Europe. So with Raleigh, and Raleigh's a really cool team. They're really they're kind of only the legit.
Joey seems like a hardworking kid.
He worked his ass off yesterday and was still there. And Kyle Murphy was in that group and attacked like 1,000,000 times. It was good. I mean, Tennessee puts on a good national championship race. I still wish it was in Philadelphia. It would be really super cool if it was still down at Manayunk and on the drives and stuff. But
we were talking about that yesterday. That was a dream. That was a good time for sure.
But nationals yesterday were good. The Sagan family controls the national title in that country for the last 10 years. Him and his brother have owned it. No one else has wore the Slovenia national championship.
Well, the Slovenia is Pogačar.
Okay, yeah. Well, whatever.
Theirs is Yeah.
What it was, Slavic, whatever.
Slavia.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, but that said, the Sagan brothers have owned it for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Which is, and like I said, Peter's out of contract this year, so he's gonna ride like he hasn't rode in a long time, I believe. And I would not bet against him for you got green jersey. It'll be, I think, a record 8th or 9th time. Well, every time he gets another one, it's a record.
So Quick-Step didn't necessarily want to take him because he came with a group of 7 people.
I don't think they can afford him.
Yeah,
I just don't.
All the 7 salaries
if
of
they
the
got the kind of money,
the massage guy.
If they would have the kind of money for Peter, they would have had the money to keep
the Mick Potty guy.
They would have kept Bennett. So I think it's a money thing, and these budgets are pretty tight. You get below Ineos and a couple of the other top teams with a lot of money to spend. It's nickels and dimes, and they got to watch every penny they spend over there. The world economy is still not good, after COVID and stuff, and you just can't, nobody's throwing away millions of dollars on bike racing.
So I guess where we're at now is let's look at Ineos. I mean, they're the favorite, strongest team so far this spring. In fact, they won the last 4 stage races of the season thus far. Started off with Romandie, Giro d'Italia, Dauphiné, and Tour Suisse. And Romandie was won by Geraint Thomas. D'Italia was run by Bernal. Yeah. Dauphiné won by Richie Porte. And Tour de Suisse run by Carapaz.
No, I mean
Of course, Bernal is not.
No, he's not doing the Tour.
4 horsemen, but instead he's being replaced by Theo Gegenhardt. But all those 4 guys will still be there, all presumably able to win a Grand Tour.
Well, I mean, on paper they're the strongest team by far and away. I mean, you got Richard Carapaz, who's a Grand Tour winner. You got Geraint Thomas, who's a Grand Tour winner. You got Gegenhardt, who's a Grand Tour winner. You got Richie Porte, who's on good form, and I think he's found his place, even though he's older.
I think he finished 3rd on the podium in the Tour.
Yeah, he was 3rd
last year.
2 years ago or whatever, or last year, and they've dominated all the stage races. They won a classic. They won a semi-classic in the spring. Yeah, they're really they're going to be hard to bet against. But that said,
here's something I wanted to ask you. So everybody talks about the 2 favorites supposedly, which is Pogačar, last year's winner from UAE, and Primoz from Jumbo.
Yep.
Now, and this is like Brunel's logic too. Brunel is that Jumbo and Roglic only have and Pogačar and UAE. That's it. They're their only leaders. So if those guys go out, their tour's done. Now, if you look at Ineos, they got 4 potential leaders, right?
Yeah, on paper, absolutely.
And but what they don't have is, especially in that early week where you're not going to win the Tour, but you may lose the Tour, they don't have a lot of workers.
Yeah, they got Luke Rowe. They got a couple. I don't have their roster right in front of me.
Rowe.
They're going to be fine. These guys.
They didn't take Rowan Dennis, and that concerns me a little bit.
Well, he's jumping ship, and he's going to Jumbo next year, so it don't matter.
Maybe that's why. Eh?
Yeah, well, more than likely. But Ineos is going to be fine. Between the bodies in the car, the directors, and the road captain, and you got to put Geraint Thomas as a road captain also. These guys know what they're doing. If it gets ugly, if it splits, they're down to every detail, like the other top teams are too. But they're not going to be called out. Carapaz, I still think Carapaz is their leader on paper, truth be told. He's, when we get to our picks at the end, he's going to be far up in mine. I don't see any they're not going to lose a lot of time during the week unless something catastrophic happens.
When there is a break, if Sagan's in it, if MVP's in it, they'll let him run.
They'll let him run.
Because they know they're not going to be GC's guys.
They're not. I mean,
in fact,
Matthew
MVP
won't even be there after the first couple days.
Yeah, he's going to the Olympics, or he's getting ready for the Olympics.
Yeah, he's going to the Olympics, and like I said, they're Ineos is focused on getting that Tour title back this year, and I'd be very surprised if they don't. But it's right now on paper, it's a 3-horse race.
Got it. Ineos seemingly kind of fell apart a little bit last year, and they certainly have come back strong this year.
And they still ended up in the podium, though. I think Thomas was second. No, not Thomas.
Well, I'm talking about their whole season.
Yeah. The last year was a little rough, but you got to give, as far as a break, as crazy as last year was, squeezing an entire regular season into like 4 months was nuts.
All right, so there you have it, folks. I put we talked about this before. I got in early on the Geraint Thomas bet, so it was 18-1. So I put $100 on that. So that's 1,800 if he wins. But I really don't have a strong favorite. I'm going to bet podium with all those guys on the Ineos. So, Richie Porte, Carapaz, Gegenhardt, and Thomas, I've all got them on a podium for minor bets.
Your podium should be Primoz, Taddy, Carapaz.
Yeah, that's good. That's what Brunel said, too.
I just kind of gave it up there. Because I just don't think, I got to agree with the experts from Austin. The fact that Taddy didn't win his national TT tells you a lot. I mean, you got to win that stuff. When you're the best guy from a country that size by far, Grand Tour, you got to win that stuff.
I guess overall, I'm looking at Primoz as being the
I think so.
But although my money's on Geraint Thomas, but Primoz is he's got a vendetta too from last year.
My heart's with G. I mean, I love Thomas. I think he's just one of the great. He's a great personality and a bunch. Another cool thing with this year, and I don't know if we're going to be able to see it or not because the coverage is all fucked up because of NBC owning the rights to the AS, with getting in bed with the ASO.
How are we going to watch that?
You got to get the fucking
downloaded Peacock, but it didn't show it on there.
It will. It's cheap though. Peacock, you get a week free, and I think it's like $5 a month, so it's not a bad stream. It sucks. I was kind of hoping and praying it would be. I was hoping GCN could figure something out because I want to see Bradley on the bike this year. They got Wiggins back on the motor.
Yeah, he's good.
Just to see like what he's going to wear is worth the price, the admission. But no, the coverage is really good. Right? I mean, it'll be all right. We'll figure it out.
So there you have it. Those are the favorites. All right. And the story.
There's some sleepers though. There's some guys that could sneak in there.
So let's go down some of the other notorieties throughout the tour that are in this year. Okay, first of all, we got to talk about him because he won the tour 4 times, and that's Chris Froome on Israeli Startup Nation. So, John, is he going to finish the tour this year? What's he there for? Is he a domestique?
I think heart-wise he'll finish just because he's stronger.
Is he going to work for Wood?
Yeah, he's going to have to. He's not. The best thing, what I would love to see Chris Froome do, what would be so cool to see Chris Froome do is just be like the solid team worker.
For Wood, who else they got, right?
Well, you got Dan Martin and Michael Woods. But a stage win in a top 5 or a top 10 makes their whole tour. And I think they can do both easily. And I like to see Froome maybe lose. Well, he's going to. It would be, Froome loses a half an hour, 45 minutes, and they let him run. He gets a stage win solo, in the twilight of his career. I mean, he's not going to be racing for
another 4 years.
4 years, 5 years.
All right, so let's talk about another long shot. Roberto Uran.
Absolutely.
Of ESF.
Absolutely. Not a long shot to win it, but a long shot for the box for sure, if not a little bit better, if not top 3 again. He has been a top 3.
He can climb, and he had a real strong time trial in the last stage race. That was the Tour de Suisse.
Yeah, he's been riding awesome. I mean, he's got a lot of motivation out home. They had their first child this spring. The dude was
down in Miami
training
Beach.
down in Miami with the locals and stuff, which is
Key
cool.
Biscayne run.
And he seems the older I get, or the older he gets, he seems like the kind of guy you want to hang out with and party with and stuff. He seems pretty cool.
Even Josh knows that we talked about the only 5, 6, 7 guys that can win a Grand Tour. And in that discussion, we very rarely brought up Roberto Uran's name because he was kind of a non-factor. But he seems to be again all of a sudden.
Well, that team
can time trial and he can climb.
And that team's going to be built completely around him. They got one of the Americans on that team in Nielsen Powis, and he had a really good tour last year. He was all over the place and a lot of breaks and stuff. And I expect kind of the same from him this year. Obviously, a stage win for EF makes their tour. If they could get a guy in the top 5 in Uran, that would be.
Speaking of 5, stage 5 is the time trial.
Stage 5 is the first TT, and that is, I got to look here. It's like 30 kilometers.
Those first 2 stages are going to be awesome, Josh.
Yeah.
You got to watch them.
The first week is hard. I mean, the longest day is stage 7, 250K. Stage 8 is legitimate climbing, 3,500 meters. Stage 9 is 4,600 meters.
Here's just something I don't understand. They're going to go up later in the week when they get into the Alps. They're going to go up Mont Ventoux twice, but they're not going to finish on top of it. What do you make of that?
Because the ASO's idiots. I mean, it's. I don't know. I mean,
come on, that's the best mountaintop finish in the universe.
I don't think they have any I think they only have 1 or 2 at all in the entire tour. I didn't go much past the first week because there's so much stuff to dissect. But truth be told, I mean, it's going to be a real good, solid, informed guy is going to win this year. They do every year.
It's going to be all rainy and windy those first couple of stages. Really suck.
You want to go down through the teams or what? Where are you going?
In a minute. Okay. All right. What I want to mention before I forget, yes. UCI rules, no CGM, that's continuous glucose monitoring devices implanted in your skin, which is an advantage because it would let you know when your blood sugar gets low and you know when to feed.
When the fuel tank's low.
So if I understand correctly, as you pointed out to me on one of our various phone calls prepping for this podcast, was that UCI isn't going to go for anything that has to do with injecting needles or anything under the skin.
No, they're not going to. I don't see. Somebody will have to come up with some way to do that without it being breaking the skin.
Oh, man. Well.
And it's, I mean, I guess it's, eventually it will.
They
because
do that
the UCI,
the watches
the UCI is like, if they had their way, there'd still be racing flip-flop
galvanic skin response.
But if the UCI still had their way, they'd be.
Before I flip my napkin, I had a note here, and usually I take these notes as I'm watching races or when I'm talking to you on the phone, and then I never follow up with you as I save them for today. And I know you spoke highly of Astana, and I still can't for the life of me figure out why.
Well, I mean, they're bringing a good, solid team. I mean, we got one of the Izagiri brothers. You got Lysenko, who's probably going to go for a stage win since the rumor on the street is he's changing teams, going to Bora for big money. You got Full Sang that's always going to be thereabouts, top 10. Astana's that sleeper team because they have a lot of guys that are sort of the fly under the radar, but are really good, really solid riders.
You've always liked them, and
I mean, they come to play. They don't screw around. They don't just foul wheels and shit. They animate
it's Kazakhstan. It's Russian. They'll figure out a way to get in.
They're going to figure out a way, man. You don't screw.
So, I guess when you're talking about the green jersey and not the yellow jersey, which we've been talking about, the green jersey, of course, is the points jersey. You got to go with Sagan. He's been racing well this year. And Giro d'Italia, he got it?
Yeah.
Right? He got the points jersey.
He got the Ciclamina jersey at the Giro, and I don't see anybody beating him.
What challengers do you see for that this year?
Maybe the little guy. Maybe Caleb Ewing if he's on the kind of form he was on.
What about
that's
Bennett?
Hard to believe. I mean, we don't know where Bennett's at. If Bennett comes out the first couple days and looks like he's going good with, he had a slight injury a couple weeks ago. It was a question mark up until a few days ago if he was even going to start the race.
I might have picked Cavendish. If
I would have brought Cav regardless. I would have brought Cav.
Well, you love Cav, but
I would have brought Cav. I mean, Cav is reborn. As far as his attitude, he's
outside of Alaphilippe. I'm not seeing that much.
Yeah, but they got solid. I mean, they got. I think Cavagna's coming.
Oh yeah, he's racing good.
They got Casper Asgreen will be on that squad. You got Julian, you got Bennett, you got you got a possible jersey there plus stage wins. Any possible yellow jersey because I'm not counting out Alaphilippe that first week.
Okay,
at all.
Fair enough. So yeah, folks, you can bet Tour de France winner. The yellow jersey, you can bet the green jersey winner, Sagan. And, you can get those bets in now.
And stage wins. I mean, the whole night.
And then stage wins each. And then you can bet podium. So you can bet top 3. And here's what I did really well on the Giro d'Italia betting was I picked a lot of long shots to finish top 10. So they give you that option early on. So this got to be done before Saturday, folks. And you can get some of these unique bets. The top 10 was really good because you can get odds like crazy.
Absolutely.
You can't get odds on Pogacar or Primoz or
the favorites to pass
or Garen anymore after I got them, but I did it way in advance. So the other thing that I won money on in the Giro was I picked the winner of the team jersey. And of course, you and I always talk about that. And I don't know if we talked about it. Who was it?
Well, it's
Movistar.
Movistar's
How do they do that? They can win the team.
But the thing of it is, they take the time when X amount of guys cross the line. So
do you know that rule? No one's ever said that rule. I don't even know what it is.
I'd have to look it up, but I mean, I've heard it in the background enough to know to think that it's the second or third guy across the line. Something they go a cumulative time deal there, and Movistar is a team that's always finishing 3-4 guys in the top 10, top 15, almost every, especially in the mountain stages.
Who do they got this year? Solar.
Let me look here.
Yep.
Obviously Valverde going after stage wins. You got Enric Mas, you got Marc Solar, and you have great support staff. You got great support team. I think, obviously no GC.
Who's their team director, John? Do you happen to know that?
Oh, I couldn't pronounce his name if my life depended on it, but they have.
Is he a Spanish guy, probably?
More than likely.
That's a Spanish team,
80,
right?
80 years of experience in the car. I mean, these guys used to be in, these were in the they were in Hudson's and Edsels back in the day.
All right.
It was that long. But no, Movistar's a solid team. They come to play. They're going to do well. They're going to get a stage win or two. I'd like to see Marc Soler get a stage win. I mean,
I did too. I was pulling for him in the Giro, and then he crashed out.
I think he'll come back up pretty good. I mean, I don't know if he's there at the end after 3 weeks after having done the Giro, but I think I think they get a stage win and they get decent. They'll finish high up. It's a battle. It's a battle between them and Ineos. And I mean, you can't, even a team like EF could be there at the team prize at the end of the game.
Do you know who's on that roster?
EF?
They're not bringing TJ, are they?
No, TJ's done. I think TJ retired yesterday.
Really?
I think he retired after Nationals. I'm not sure about that, but I think TJ's gone. A lot of
How'd he do in that race, national championship?
I didn't see him. I didn't hear his name mentioned one time.
It
was the Alex Howes show and the Lawson Craddock show, and I don't think any of the guys doing the tour.
Lawson's been again working hard, man. He's got a good work
I don't think
ethic.
any of the guys that are doing the tour from America were overdoing nationals yesterday. It's too close. I mean, if they're not in Brittany,
then they got the travel thing.
Yeah, they got to be. They're with,
you need
with the
extra time with the protocol.
With the protocol now and shit, they're all going to be in northern France by tomorrow.
All right, so then I want to talk about Bahrain and no Landa and no Marc Perdone. Now tell us a little bit about Perdone, because I don't know if everybody followed along there.
He won both hard stages in was it the Dauphiné or the Tour Suisse?
The Dauphiné.
Yeah, I mean, he was just flying. Young kid. I think he
won back-to-back Mountain State.
Back-to-back
mountaintop finishes,
form.
man.
Yeah, at the Dauphiné. And I don't know what the reasoning there is with them. They're throwing everything behind Jack Haig, who's a great rider, but he's not gonna.
He's no Landa and he's no
top
Perdone.
10. He's gonna have a bad day.
Haig would be a guy I'd put in the top 10.
But you got Paulo Balboa, who
he can climb.
Bilboa, who will be there, and they're about. It's going to be great to see an Italian champion jersey in there with Corbelli. That'll motivate him for that first week. You got 3 sprint stages early on. You got that.
Let's talk about
you got Mohoric, who won the Slavic,
right? So
whatever.
So do they have a lead out train for Cobrelli?
They have a couple strong guys that I think will be there for him. Cobrelli's always been a surfer. So he's sort of like Cale Ewing and those guys. He doesn't know how much of a train. If they would get a stage win early, it makes their whole tour. If Cobrelli could win the Italian jersey, which is very, very possible, he's had a pretty good, decent early.
He's climbed
early
pretty
part of the
good
season
from what I could see.
Well, and he'll be there the first couple days. I mean, I think he can hang. But the finishes on those last 2 days are tailor made for guys like Alaphilippe, MVP, Wout, Philippe Gilbert. Even though he's an old man, he's going good. He looked good yesterday. He looked real good yesterday in Wevelgem.
So I'll be pulling for GBA and Philippe Gilbert and Valverde, I guess.
Oh, yeah, the old guys.
So
they'll be there.
Is there a Mark Hirschi this year or not?
I don't know. I with UAE's roster, obviously everything is behind Taddy.
Who do you think's going to be his first sergeant?
It'll be probably McNulty.
McNulty, the American.
Yeah.
How many Americans we got in this year's race, John?
We got 4 Americans in this year's tour as of like the last roster that I saw. You got Sean Bennett, who's on Quebec Assos, 25-year-old. I don't know anything about him, but I'm sure he's really good if he's on a world tour team.
Yep.
You got Brandon McNulty on UAE. You got Sepp Kuss on Jumbo-visma. And you got Nielsen Palace on EF, and they're all under 20. They're all 26 or younger, which it shows great. There were some really good young guys this week at U.S. Nationals. Hopefully these guys will be seen and get to that world stage, get to Europe. There are a lot of really good young guys in America right now, but we'll see. It's kind of, it sucks. It's only 4 Americans.
Not including Joey Roscoff.
No. Well,
he's
Raleigh. He's on Raleigh, and they're not at this level. They would never be at this level, but maybe someday they want to go world tour. That's the word in the street. And, just got to see how much money the UCI is going to take.
So again, the quick makeup for all you folks that haven't been really tuned in this season or other seasons. So there's probably 22, 23 teams in the Tour de France, and they're each comprised of 8 members.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got 19 World Tour teams, and they, of course, are in all the
3 wild cards.
In all the grand tournament. And then you've got 19 World Tour teams. They're automatically in. That's what they live for.
Yep.
And then you've got the team, whether it be World Tour Pro team or Pro Continental or even Tier 3, I guess, that has the most UCI points last year, which was Phoenix Alpecin.
Yep.
So
Alpecin Phoenix is bringing Matthew
that's
Vander.
20 teams.
And then there's 2 wild cards.
2?
Yeah, because Alpes and Phoenix is considered a wild card, even though they can turn down. They don't have to come to the tour. They don't have to do these races.
So that's what 22 times 8. So there's going to be 160 and 16. There's going to be 176 riders to start.
Sounds about right.
So, and I've been thinking about this, and
I think the two wildcard teams are Total Energy. Used to be.
Well, they're not even. They're almost a world tour team, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean, because there's talk that's where Sagan's going, and they're opening up the check. They got a lot of money. They got energy money, so there's a lot of money there, and B&B hotels. And for both those teams, it's breakaways and stages. You're going to see.
What about your buddy? Wanty is a world tour.
Wanty's world tour and Cofidis is world tour.
So here's a theory I've been playing with, and I know you can focus it for me. MVP Mathieu van der Poel. He's been all over the map. When he feels like in a stage race or whatever, when he feels like going on a break, he goes on a break. If he feels like racing cyclocross, he does it. Championship.
He's going to the Olympics.
He's going to the Olympics for mountain bike. He's already raced some mountain bike.
Yep.
Now he's on the tour. He's going for the yellow jersey, regardless of his team, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking, is he going to go to a bigger team? It doesn't suit him right now. Staying on a pro continental team that way, I don't think he has. How do I want to say? He doesn't have like a direct. He's like working for a big corporation or a small company.
Well, he can do what he wants. Yeah, he can do what he wants to do. I mean, he's still.
But I don't think he would be able to do that if he was
like on an Ineos or a Quick Step.
That's
probably
my
not.
question to
Probably
you.
not. I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons why him and Audrey van der Poel stay where they stay, because they can kind of steer the ship. I mean, I don't see him. I got unbelievable respect for Mathieu van der Poel. He's a once in a generation rider. He's one of these guys, if he puts his mind down to it, he's going to go do it. Everyone in this bunch is going to be watching what he does that first couple days, because he's let it be known. They have all the shit ready. They got the yellow bike, the yellow jersey, the helmet, the whole 9 yards. I mean, most teams do go into the race prepared for the yellow jersey because it can happen. And I mean, again, next Saturday afternoon, it could be somebody we haven't even mentioned yet in that yellow jersey. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's the greatest thing about all this.
And you can correct me on this, but I believe there is like a huge semi-truck, a huge tractor trailer rig that does nothing but print jerseys.
Yeah, when you win, like when you become the yellow jersey.
Because they don't have like hundreds of them.
No, I'm not sure who the jersey supplier is for the tour anymore, and it doesn't matter. But you get, that
the green, the yellow,
that stuff's
polka
printed
dot.
up right away, like minutes after the stage, finishes.
That's amazing.
And
but it's up to the teams to do the bikes and the helmets.
Yeah. The next morning, then you get a bag of, you get a long sleeve, a speed suit, a short sleeve,
of every one
of what you want. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe beforehand they take information and get sizes and everything, and I guess you got to do it for everybody because you just don't know.
Right.
You just honestly, I mean. Every guy we've talked about could be in that yellow jersey sometime in this race. And that's the super cool thing about at this level. And real quick before I forget, apparently I heard somewhere yesterday in one of the dozens of races that I watched that there is going to be a women's Tour de France this year, like legit stage race, like a 1 week deal.
That's awesome.
Starting, I don't know I think it starts right after the tour finishes in Paris, which is, that's good. I mean, it's good for the sport. It's good for, we'll see what happens. I mean, I know, women's cycling is interesting because in my opinion only, you have, you got a disclaimer that now, I mean, I'm a fan of all that. I mean, I want to see girls out there racing and getting a shot to get to that next level and be legitimate. The problem is in women's racing, and I don't think anybody can argue with me on this. There's 20 or 30 women in the world that are legitimate world tour top women cyclists. And after you get out of that 30 or 35 and you get, varying degrees of ability and social media content and, look at my Mercedes or look at, I'm going to go out and ride for 5 minutes with a photographer with me because I'm an influencer. And I mean, I think it's really hard. The girls at the top work really, really hard. They are professional. They are as good, they're as good as the men at their level, whatever. But there's so much hanger-oners and there's so many teams that need that influence money to survive that kind of sucks for them.
All right.
I'm hoping the Tour takes it to that next level. I'm hoping the Tour, bringing a Tour de France race back for the women there should be a week or two stage race for the women, in my opinion.
And it's just part of the trend right now. It's making cycling so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, folks. So remember that on your screen, Josh is going to be flashing FanDuels and DraftKings. And what you want to do is get involved by betting. And to get started, if you tap on and subscribe to those links, then you will be referred by me, by Gretna Bill. You will get a $50 stash to bet with. And as long as you use some of that money to bet with, don't withdraw it and go buy yourself free beers, but bet with it within 28 days, like during the Giro, then that $50 is yours. So it's a great thing to do, and it'll keep you involved. And I urge you guys to go on, maybe both sites actually, if you can get in there. It's a limited time offer. So again, FanDuel, DraftKings, get on the link that Josh is showing behind me now, and let's get after it. So again, we endorse FanDuel and DraftKings. And that's where we get most of our odds and wagering info from. So when you're looking at FanDuel, and I'll go in order, John, of the favorites, they're picking Pogacar, then Roglic, then Geraint Thomas, then Carapaz, then Alaphilippe. Now, and then Richie Porte, then Rigoberto Urán, Teo Gegenhardt, and Mark Padun is wrong. I can't believe they have that on there. He's not
surprised
going.
They haven't removed him.
So that's another indication, folks, that if you're interested in putting some bets down now, go on and look at the two sites because you can get different odds and you can get better odds if you have a favorite.
And you say that about Alaphilippe in there. The Tour is hard this year. Tour is always hard. But there's not a lot of really nasty, steep mountaintop finish kind of things and stuff.
That suits him?
Yeah, it suits him. I mean, he's done it before.
So you got to say, okay, that Vegas is wise to that. Because there's no really...
Well, they got, obviously they got somebody following this that, probably from Europe that has the inside dope that knows what's going on. I wouldn't count Alaphilippe out of the top 10. Not even close.
So Pogacar is less than it's just a little less than 2-1.
Yeah.
Roglic is 2-1. Geraint Thomas is about 5-1, which is great because I got 18-1.
Yeah,
see, if you plan ahead, folks. And then here's the wild card pick. Well, Carapaz is in there at 11-1. Not a bad pick, right?
Yeah, not bad at all.
So, but then to your point about Alaphilippe, maybe he has a chance for once. And his odds are incredible. They're 29, so say 30-1.
Yeah.
So if you bet $5 on that, you can get $150.
Well, not only that, just bet him in the box. Bet him as a top 3.
I definitely got to do that.
You know what I'm saying?
I
mean, I could see it. I mean, it just would not surprise me.
That's an interesting. No one's talking about it, but you in Vegas.
You got two time trials. He's a decent TT guy. He's they're both of them are.
And that first week, he's going to be fine.
First week, that team, absolutely. They know what they're doing. They're already doing.
They're all Belgium recon guys.
They're doing. The tractors there at the front. He'll be pulling.
And you know what'll make this, because I started saying to you, well, they're in trouble, Quick Step, and you go, no, they're not. Well, and now all of a sudden I'm looking at Alaphilippe,
and the thing of it is with the Deceuninck Quick Step, the guys in the car are excellent. They know what they're doing. The support on the ground for a team that's probably got a third of the budget of Ineos, they play the game the same way Ineos does, which is really impressive. Everyone, a lot of people in Europe hate Patrick Lefevre, the director. I mean, he's big mouth. He has his own show on Belgian TV. He tweets all the time and stuff, the whole 9 yards. The guy knows his shit. He's been doing this stuff for 40 plus years. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I mean, the only mistake that I see he's made in the last year is not trying to come up with the money to keep Bennett, but that's irrelevant. I probably would have took Cav to the top.
Okay. Agreed. Yeah. So I'm going to bet $10 on Alaphilippe.
He's doing it live, man, right now.
I'm doing it right now, and it's $290 to win. Yes, I'm enjoying this.
You can tell.
Okay, so I'll tell you the other bet I'm going to make right now. I'm going to put $10 on Rigoberto Urán because that's 31-1 odds.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Can't really go wrong.
$10 gets me $310. I'm doing that too.
In 3 weeks, we might have a real happy Billy Gentile, Gretna Bill here. He could be big bag of money with a top hat and a monocle. We got to get him that for the last show.
So we take Mark Padon out. Then the next guy is Astana's Miguel Angel Lopez.
And he's another one that's jumping ship, I believe. He signed a contract, or he's in the process of signing another one to
he's
move.
$480 if you bet 10.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he wins it. But
so here's somebody that we failed to talk about, and I mentioned it to you the other day. Adam Yates. And he's 70-1.
With Bike Exchange, you never know what their game plan is going to be. They got a really good cagey director in Matty White.
They got anybody to guard him?
You got Chavez who will be there. Chavez had a pretty good lead up to the tour. Chavez rode strong, which order he did. I couldn't remember if he was in Swiss or the Dauphiné.
If Yates wins, $10 gets you 700.
Yeah. Simon will be thereabouts if he doesn't have a really bad day. I mean, they're going to be stage hunting early on, probably because they got Michael Matthews there, and he may want green, but he may not be able to go after green because of their GC aspirations. You'll know early on who's doing what.
All right, so after Yates, then you got Enric Mas.
Yeah,
he's
solid.
also 70-1. Then David Gaudu. Your thoughts?
Yeah,
80-1.
He was on my list for FDJ, for Groupon of FDJ. I mean, he's their hope. It certainly isn't Pinot or any of the other guys anymore.
And then finally, Jack Haig way down there at 80-1. And then Kelderman, and then Wout Van Aert.
Yeah,
Simon Yates.
Not going to happen.
Simon Yates. Didn't he just win something?
Yeah, he's not even going to the race, I don't think.
And then Valverde, Lutsenko, Bagioli. I don't know anything about him.
No, but I mean, you look at FDJ. And
how about that Attila Valter? He's 100-1.
Yeah. Nah.
Who's he ride for?
Oh,
because he's from Hungary, of course. Because I remember that Attila the Hun.
Is it Bora? I don't know. I mean, now I got to look him up. Billy, you got me all upset. I don't know something. The name is really cool because it's Attila. He did well in the Giro, didn't he?
Yeah, he won a couple of mountaintop stages, or he at least won one.
Look at that. Pro Cycling Stats comes through. No, he's on FDJ. Upcoming race. He's not doing the tour. So
what do you think of those guys? What do you think
FDJ?
Of yeah.
Everything Gaudu. They got to. Everything is in behind David Gaudu. Stage win in the top 10. Stage win in the top 10. I think he gets a mountain. I think he gets a finish in mountains. I think he gets a stage. He gets his first tour stage win. And then that's probably where he's going to be.
All right. Let's wrap this up in terms of, first of all, Tour de France starts on Saturday.
Yep.
It's
bright and early.
About 23 days, 2 rest days in there, right? Again.
Yep.
So we got
usually on Mondays in France, but this year, who the hell knows? I would think Mondays.
21 days of racing, and then right after that, we got the Olympics. So that's going to affect on some of these riders.
Just the pure climbers, just the absolute mountain goats. Because Japan is really hard. I looked last night after I watched another show or listened to another show. I looked up the Japan course and stuff, and it is just absolute brutally brutal.
How about the mountain bike championship, the gold medal?
I mean,
we got Pidcock and we got.
I mean, I got to go with MVP. Tom because he broke his collarbone 2 weeks ago, but he was on the bike.
Brunel likes Pidcock. Yeah,
Tom is just incredible. I mean, there was
the knock against Vanderpool is he's a little bit too big.
He's a big guy, man, and there's going to be a lot of climbing there. And don't count out Nino Schurter. I mean, he's an old man, but he knows what he's doing. He doesn't make any mistakes.
So Sweeney,
one more payday.
Sweeney told me he's going down to the World Cup in Snowshoe, West Virginia, coming up at the end of July.
Well, how's that coincide with the Olympics, though? Who's going to be there?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
I don't know.
Isn't that close? Or
I would think so. I mean, I would think that the only guys going to be there are the guys that ain't going to the Olympics, regardless of when it is, because it's just going to be too close travel-wise. And with the with the COVID protocol and stuff, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to be there. I mean, I don't follow. I mean, full disclaimer, I don't follow the mountain biking other than the top guys like I used to. But I know there's a lot of heavy hitters and a lot of really good riders.
So we got 22 teams battling it out for 21 days, 2 time trials.
2 time trials, nothing over 30 or 40.
And the point what John was making earlier and made the brief case for Julian Alaphilippe and Quick Step is that there's not a lot of really long climbs with mountaintop finishes at the end. Is that correct? This tour.
It's going to be a hard tour. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Okay, I got to ask you about this bias that I always look for, which is the French haven't won a Tour de France like forever. It's their deal.
It's been since 85.
So I often think that ASO tries to cater the course to favor any of the French guys that may have a chance, this being Alaphilippe. And I certainly think that's true this year.
Yeah,
would you agree with that?
It is, but it doesn't matter. There's not going to be a Frenchman winning the tour anytime soon. Unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is. It's no knock to the French riders. They ride. There are some awesomely strong French riders and great to watch, animating. I mean, again, yesterday Remy Cavaga gets the gets the French jersey, I believe, and the road race jersey, and just the dude's super strong. Same with Al Philippe. These guys are team. I mean, there's a reason why they're called the Wolfpack. As far as the they work for each other. There's no BS there. If they think one of their teammates can win,
albeit Ineos has like 20 some wins, so they've got more wins.
They got
this
20. Ineos, no. Quickstep's still leading the team.
Really?
Quickstep still has all the. Yeah, they still have all the wins.
All those one-day classics for sure.
Well, I mean, they got how many wins they get yesterday in nationals. I mean, they got. I'll tell you in a second here. We're going to tell you real quick. As we speak here, we don't even cut away. We go right to it here on the Gretna Bills show. The Koenig Quickstep has 32 wins.
Wow.
32 wins for the year.
Dude.
He is old school.
I'm going to the gym to work on the guns later.
It's only on the Instagram.
Thank you.
Those are my gym shoes.
Incredible.
And I told you all about that. It gives me more stability when I do squats and shit.
A lot of guys down in South Florida wearing them, playing buckyball right now too. Same thing, but different. Ineos has 27 wins. I mean, that's respectable numbers at halfway, start of the second half.
Two great teams.
Absolutely.
And Movistar actually has a couple of wins this year.
But they don't have anywhere near that many.
Somebody asked me.
They don't have that many in the last 3 years.
Somebody asked me the other day, it's like, Taylor, is she going to pro? And I'm like, well, she's probably good enough. I said, but she's got to race once in a while first.
Well, you don't necessarily have to.
No, you don't really have to.
Hey, Bill, you've lived the life of chamois time is training time. So
yeah, true.
He's got chamois on right now. You want to go down through the teams quick or not?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
We touched on Astana a little bit. You got Cofidis, breakaway stage wins. I don't even have anybody down from them. I have no clue who they're bringing. The stage win makes their whole season. Trek Segafredo, another team. You got Nibali. You got some solid riders there. Looking for stage wins, looking for possible top 10 for somebody, but it's going to be tough to do.
Your notes have been compacted, man. That's very good.
Yeah. Team Quebec Assos, breakaway stages. They're bringing the first South African rider, which is really cool for this year.
That dude.
First South African rider. They got one of the Americans. They'll do all right. They'll be there or thereabouts. They'll be out in breaks. I'm not sure they're bringing the world TT guy, the world hour record holder in Victor Campenas. We'll see.
Campenarts.
We touched on Bike Exchange, Bahrain victorious. The question mark. Nobody knows what their theory is there. Same with UAE. AG2R Citroen, AG2R. They're bringing Ben O'Connor, who had a really good mid-late spring.
Oh yeah,
and could be. You got GBA, you got Cosnefroy, you got Mickey Shar, who started the bottle hold deal with the UCI. Stage wins for sure. French team.
Cosnefroy can win some mountaintop stages.
Yeah,
but there isn't that many.
Nobody gives a shit about the polka dot jersey.
Especially not Lance.
Especially not Lance. We did Jumbo-visma. Everything's behind Primoz. They got Sepp Kuss, one of the Americans. You got Wout in the Belgian tricolor, which will be really
so.
Super
What are you
cool.
expecting from Sepp Kuss? He's obviously strong.
Solid teamwork, man. The guy knows his role. He is a super domestique. He's going to have plenty of years in Europe. He's going to hone his trade to the point where he probably gets some
player,
wins.
Right?
Yeah, dude's awesome. He's not trying to be something he's not. I respect him an awful lot because he went over there. He's learning the trade. He's not jumping from team to team and playing games. Movistar, same thing. Stage wins. They got 3 good heavy hitter Spanish guys. It'll be interesting. Bora is
Soler and Valverde.
Yeah, Bora on paper is interesting. Everything's obviously going to be behind Sagan, but you got Posterberger, you got Buchmann, you got Conrad, who's the Austrian champion.
Never quite lives up to the expectations. They'll always
be one of the guys in the last 10 before the selection comes.
He would be a good top 10 pick.
Yeah, I mean, green jersey for sure. That's what they're throwing everything behind just because of the amount of publicity you get from it. So it's a smart move on their part.
There's Ineos.
Ineos we spoke on. They're tough to bet against. I mean, as much my heart, I don't know. We'll see. Ask me a week or two from now. Lotto Soudal, all stage wins, breakaways. Caleb Ewing, maybe he goes after green jersey. We'll see. But I wouldn't count him out even early on. It would a week from now, if Ewing's in New Jersey, would I be surprised? Not at all. You got Thomas de Gent. I got to figure he's going to get back to his old ways, breakaways.
What about his knee problem? You hear
he'll be all right.
Scoop on
He'll
that?
be all right. These they're all coming off.
Dude, I lost a lot of money betting on de Gent on breakaways, and they just never made it during the Giro.
There'll be lots of breakaways in the Tour, but they're not going to stick. The Koenig we talked about, I mean, their game plan's pretty easy.
I beg to differ. I think this year might be different, but you know that I do.
They're not going to stick. EF Education, Nippo, you got Nielsen Powis, one of the Americans, and Uran. Everything's behind them. Everything's behind Rigoberto. Stage breakaways, possible GC. Groupon of FDJ we talked about what could do. Intermarshall Wani Group, a stage race mixer, a stage win, just like it did in the Giro with Taco van der Hoorn.
That's another one of your favorite teams.
I love the Belgian squads. I mean, that team, if they win a stage win, absolutely makes their whole
Israeli
year.
Startup Nation.
Same thing. We're bringing Froome with for the publicity, but he won't be there or thereabouts at the end. Michael Woods and Dan Martin are their best chance. I don't think Woods has the killer instinct to win these things.
He hasn't shown it.
He'll be there.
He's got great background, right?
Oh,
he's
a
runner.
He's an Olympian. He's got lungs like a sperm whale. I mean, the dude could, he's good. Team DSM is interesting this year. They had a great tour last year as Sunweb. Their last year as Sunweb, but they lost some of those heavy hitters in Hershey, and you got Case Bowles, who I don't think is good enough to win the field sprints at this level, but he'll be top 5. You got Soren Craig Anderson, who may get another stage win. He's been completely anonymous this spring.
Yeah, he has been.
So their best bet's going to be stage wins, breakaways. Alpes and Phoenix we talked about. You got Tim Melior, who got beat, they couldn't bring it back yesterday at the Belgians for him to win. I think he came in sick.
I think he's peaked already.
Yeah, that's very possible. Look him up on Instagram. He's living a good life. He's either engaged to or dating what's his name's daughter, the great rider from Belgium who passed away. I'll think of the name an hour from now when it doesn't matter. Total energy.
That'll drain his legs.
Yeah, well, Total Energy, Pierre Latour, stage win at best. If they get that, a lot of breakaways. Expect to see that New Jersey out. A lot of breakaways. Same with Arkea Samsic. I mean, they're bringing Barguil and Quintana, but
Quintana's pretty much done. Although he's not
him.
As old as Iran.
No, he just barely gets mentioned. And B&B Hotels, KTM, Brian Cocard, he's not going to win any stages, not with the sprinters level, the quality it's here. Best they can hope for is
They'll
maybe
probably talk about him though, right?
They will. Well, he always gets mentioned, which is good for the team. I have a feeling he's moving too. I read somewhere, I think he's jumping ship and going somewhere too at the end of this year. You're going to see a lot of transfers being announced during the tour because I think a lot of this stuff's already done. They just can't announce it yet. And then you got, they're going to be breakaways and
right.
Hopefully a stage win.
Final answer, John.
Yes.
Who's going to win the L jersey?
Who's going to win the L jersey? The guy that has it on in Paris in 3 weeks. No, I think it's really. I got to go. My heart wants to go with G or Carapaz because I'm an Ineos guy. I'm a Sky guy. But honestly, I think it's a battle between Primoz and Taddy.
Same as last year.
But I think Primoz learned from his mistakes. He's smart. He's got that assassin killer instinct. I think it's going to be. Unless something happens to him early, Primoz is there at the end. I'm
going to pull for Garen only because let's stand to win, a couple grand.
I mean, I hope Garrett wins it. I mean, I hope G wins it.
Josh, final answer. Who do you like in the tour in the yellow jersey?
I was just going to
come on, man. You've been watching this. You've been watching this talk.
He didn't Billy Gentile. You're not racing it. How many times in the next 3 weeks are we going to be asked, hey, how did you ever do the tour? I always love that. It's like, oh, you raced bike. I mean, did you do the tour? No, many years ago. I got to look at. You can't find the information online anymore. I did the tour in 1987. 87.
Dude, we get that so often. It's so cool when somebody goes, "Oh, have you ever done the Tour de France?" It's like, well,
not recently.
Not
recently.
Not in this lifetime.
Is the Tour de Lebanon Valley the same thing? Kind of. It kind of is.
So in mountain biking, I did make it to World Cup as a master. I got that jersey. Yeah, bro. I made it there. I finished 11th.
Dude, who hasn't? I rode the Olympic course in Conyers, Georgia. I mean, come on. And that was the infamous trip taking Todd Holsopple out of the state. Take Todd Holsopple out of the state, man. Wife beater drinking pickle juice. He was so far ahead of the curve, it wasn't even funny. 880 freaking degrees in Georgia, and there's Todd Holsopple sitting with basketball shorts on, ball huggers. Wife beater drinking pickle juice out of the jar. And he was good for 9 hours of drive time on the way home. The scariest trip home on the planet. A certain ex-cyclist and runner from our area tried to kill us on 95. It was an incredible trip. The
Stoner.
Well,
and he wasn't stoned.
I wasn't going to say any names. But no, we're
Maybe
lucky.
He should have got
Middle Atlantic, man. There's been some great races come through here. We've got to see some really cool. Got to see Sean Yates win down in Philly that year when he won a course.
Tour de Trump. Came right through Lebanon.
Came through northern Lebanon County, whatever, with through the Gap and stuff, which was really neat.
Up by Camp Bayshore.
Yeah, Fort Indian Town Gap. No, you're thinking, yeah. You're right. Came up over the mountain and then climbed up over whatever that climb is going into to Harrisburg area, and then down Front Street out onto the Market Street Bridge.
Oh, that was a great race.
Vacislav Ekimov in the leader's jersey, I believe, and Eric Vanderorden, I think, won on the Market Street Bridge in 1988 or 9. Boy, we're showing our age, Billy. That's before you even knew about bikes.
Did you ever race? Right, exactly. Did you ever race in the Lancaster pro race?
Never did the pro race. Did the 1-2. Never did the pro race. He worked it a couple times with Rosie's Red Rockets. No, with Lancaster Red Rose Rockets with Mike Chavone and Dave Black and Dwayne Clinton. Dwayne Clinton finished all 3 of them one year. He did. We did Lancaster, did Trenton, and did Philly, and he was the only guy I think on the team to finish all 3. That was good times. They were good, strong riders back in the day. Well, Clinton.
Kudos to Dwayne Clinton, man.
Still strong as hell.
He's back on Through It All as a team member.
Is he? Okay, cool. What's he doing? Gravel or doing road or
just gravel right now? I think I seen
this
him last weekend. I would be talking to you about Race Ave and the state crit championship, but the city of Lancaster shot that down and said you need a 6-month prior. What a bummer.
Is it okay to have like a naked bike ride through the city, or is that okay? But we can't have like a legit.
As long as you have a mask on, John.
As long as you have a mask. Well, that's important. It's what they're doing down in Philly the end of August. You can't have anything else, but you can have a naked bike ride as long as you wear a mask. Makes a lot of sense to me. Just the common sense is everywhere. But no, tour should be really, really good. I mean, tour should be interesting.
Cycling's been getting great, and there's a lot of reasons, right? But what would you tag as one of the most
young aggressive riders? They want to make a name for themselves. They're smart. They know how to train. They're very, as much as I hate technology as any other old guy does, they're smart. They know how to ride. They know how to train. They know how to, their numbers are everything to them, but they know their bodies. And
that's why I think that
the young guys, it's great to watch.
In years gone by, you'd say the tour is serious business and they don't let breaks get away. They're that professional. I think this might break that cycle a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, again,
because from what I've seen this season so far.
Well,
again, the tour's different.
It's tough because, it's been said many, many, many times. A tour stage win makes your whole career, makes your whole existence in the sport. You get a tour stage win, that's always talked about. And over there, it's even a bigger deal because they don't forget. I mean, there's guys in France and Belgium who tell you who won the stage on July 6th, 1977. They can tell you it's probably Eddie Merckx. But they can tell you the guy that won the stage and what the gap was and what bike he was on and what shoes he was wearing.
Yeah.
And all while knocking back a pint and smoking 3-pack of cigarettes. But it is what it is. But it's so cool. I mean, the young guys are ruling the sport, but then you have Primoz, who's almost 30, and you have some older guys, older riders who are showing that experience counts. They're still in there. They're still in the mix. They're still getting big money. They're still in demand. I mean, Sagan's no kid. Sagan's pushing 30. He's been around forever.
Is his brother racing in the tour?
I don't think they're taking Yuri to the tour. He'll probably do.
There are still a few brothers with the Izagares.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any. I don't know if there's any brother pairs coming to the tour. I mean, I think most of the brothers are doing the tour lower Slavolia that runs for a week in the middle of July or something, or some Kermesse race in Belgium or something.
But I think it's Slovakia and Slovenia,
something like
that. So Sagan's from Slovakia.
It's all Czechoslovakian or something to me.
And Pogačar and Primoz are from Slovenia.
I love the Russian people. No, it'll be
you love Astana.
I love the Russian people and they're hardworking people but then we look forward to Worlds in Belgium, which is going to be incredible. We look forward to the Olympics, which should be a good race. We'll get to see about 3 minutes of coverage with some updates.
When is the Worlds in relation to the Olympics?
The Worlds is only in September.
Oh, okay.
The Worlds is a week before Paris-Roubaix, I believe. If Roubaix happens, I mean, who knows? There may be a flare up in northern France. There might be 3 cases and 1 hospitalization and a dog on a ventilator.
So we've missed 1 monument so far.
Yeah, Paris-Roubaix is coming, and the gals get Paris-Roubaix this year, which will be really, really cool. I hope the women's race happens for them. That's all we've heard about for the last year. But Worlds will be good because you're more than likely going to see a rainbow jersey do Paris-Roubaix because it's tailor made for a guy like Van der Poel or Van Aert or one of those guys. So the end of the season, the Vuelta is going to be good this year because Uran's talking about wanting to do the double, wanting to get the Vuelta crown along with his Tour de France and his Giro victories. So And he just gave a custom bike. He just gave a Pinarello to the Pope the other week.
Really?
You know, yeah, he gave a custom. I'd love to see the bike room at the Vatican. I mean, that's got to have some killer bikes in it.
I'd like to see him ride with those robes on.
No, we're not going to. Man, you just set me up there. That was a hanging fastball. I could have knocked that out of the park.
They got the regular,
he has a
time trial helmet.
He has a helmet on underneath that hat.
It's like a cone
He has
head,
a helmet
dude.
on under that hat just in case he falls down. You know, they got to get him to the podium, and then he forgets where he's at. And I joke with my Catholic friends. I'm joking. Don't put the hex on me or anything.
I guess we got to wrap this up.
We got to wrap it up.
I think we said everything that needs to be said.
One real quick thing, because our 13 listeners want to know. When is the next show? Is it going to be next Monday? Are we going to do it like last year? Or is it going to be, or are we going to do a show like in August and then completely forget about the tour like we did the Giro? I mean, I couldn't tell you who did what at the Giro. So, you know, how are we going to do this, William?
To be continued, to be determined. So hang in there, folks, and we'll let you know.
Josh might be down at the lake for the next week, and we might do one on remote, though. There was a rumor of a show on remote.
You know how when you go to, my example is like you go to Vegas and you go out to the big pool, and then you could spend a hell of a lot of money and get a separate little cabana.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what he looked like.
He's got
a cabana at Gretna Lake.
We didn't mention the sponsors. We did not. See, here's the difference. We're not so focused on the money end of it. We're focused on the bread and butter of the nuts and bolts of it. Lupine Lights North America.
We really love those people at Roku and Aura Ring and Ventum Bikes.
I slept great last night. I slept great last night on my 30-year-old mattress. That's lumpy. I got it. They sent it to me. I slept. My ring here said nope. It said I didn't sleep good. I don't know what the hell
Elemente.
We joke. We're joking.
Ivy.
We're joking. You know?
Come on, those guys are good. Chris Horner's good. They're all good.
We're drinking Mount Gretna 2021. Look at that. Beautiful. The lodge.
Porch and pantry.
We just drink good.
I love the Shire, dude. I never have reason to leave the Shire.
Gretna Bikes. Is Gerciotti still something going on there with Gerch?
No, let's say Gretna Bikes exists sort of virtually. But not really.
Well, Gretna Bikes is in our hearts and minds.
Yeah,
always.
Bro, always.
You know,
we're chatty. You know, I still deal with Alessandro. Of course, Lupine Lights. That's LupineNorthAmerica.com. And then there's Deluxx Bikes and Josh Zaring Studios in downtown Timber Hills.
Beautiful Gretna, the home of the cicada.
The home of the
cicadas. You can't take a step without stepping on one. You got to clean them off your shoes. They make a hell of a mess. They snap like spotted lanternflies when you ride over them.
Yeah,
I do enjoy that.
And when they hit your throat and your face.
Oh, dude, yesterday was brutal.
They get right.
Yesterday
That's
was
where
brutal.
you need those big Roku sunglasses.
I just wear Tifosis. I can't afford Rokus. I just have like the Tifosis, and only because I get them at cost.
I get the bouquet.
Oakley. Dollar General Store readers. We're sponsored by the Dollar General Store reader.
That was brought to you by
Dollar General. Hey, that would be pretty cool, man. I'm telling you.
I want to say it real loud. Viva la Tour. Let's get to it.
Viva la Tour.
Saturday morning. Be there. Be square, folks. It's going to be great. Not to be missed. Thanks, Josh.
Good one, Billy.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, guys.
Peace out.
Always.
Always. Viva la Tour.